Yo, 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 hey there, how are you today? I'm back on today just to just to talk about the some more about the audio bombardment. It's actually since I posted the revealing videos of what is transpiring here in Kirkland Lake, if they've increased tenfold, which is kind of weird. It's it's kind of odd that it happens this way. As soon as you're close to something, as soon as you find out something that they don't want you to know, the bombardment seems to intensify. The last 3 nights, they've literally talked from, well, they don't stop, but they pick up with the pace around 7 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock, and literally round the clock, all night long. They are, it's question after question, it's comment, question, accusation, statement, scream, swear, and the screams are sustained. The comments are disgusting. They're wicked. They're mischievous. They're innocuous. They're noxious. They're hostile. It's insidious, man. Menacing. That's what it is. Sinister. Threatening. Lethal. Malignant. Cruel. Verbally, sexually abusive. Disgustingly perverse. It's full of sexually deviant, violent sex that they talk about. They're crudely pedophilic all the time. Discriminant. Demonizing. And they're always defacing the LGBT community. Always, 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 always. It just never stops. It's, they are knocking my sexuality constantly, picking me apart. And I think it has a lot to do with what transpired with one of my employers in Kirkland Lake here. Now, it's threatening, extremely threatening, but it's all like, it's funny to say, but they talk like they are police. They talk about warrants and coming to pick you up and getting rid of you. And they beg and beg and beg and beg and beg and beg for you not to release any more information. How they're doing this, I have no clue. How, why, don't know. Well, I do know how and why. I have a theory, but I don't know if that theory is correct or not. I believe that there is something seriously wrong here, though, in Kirkland Lake. I really do. I am. It would be beneficial, Somebody has to have an extremely well put together plan here, because this torture is, it has a template, It follows a very well thought out, well prepared, and a very, very premeditated and researched template that, and I've noticed that over the last 3 years of observation, because I've been recording everything that I hear, that I see around me, even outside, as far as things that are odd and out of place. I've been recording them chronologically since the very beginning. Since the very, very beginning. And I've noticed that template revolves itself around, every couple of months, 2 or 3 months, they'll come back and touch topics that they started with at the beginning, and then they'll work their way through them again. I've even noticed that on certain days, at certain times, they've even asked the exact same questions, like on a Tuesday at 6 o'clock. They'd ask a certain question, and it's very easy to remember that they've asked that question. The week goes on, and then on Tuesday at 6 o'clock, around 6 o'clock, they ask the exact same question. It's so you can tell that there's planning and structure within their template. They started with like an interrogation style. They started with an interrogation style of confrontation, where I was interrogated about Kirkland Lake, the incident that took place at Kirkland Lake Gold. I was interrogated about the labor board. They impersonated the labor board. They impersonated the Kirkland Lake Gold Health and Safe Committee. They impersonated the Newfoundland federal government. They even got the labor board to call me back the next day and tell me what my whether I won their favor or not, which would have led to something in the end. They interrogated me and tried to accuse me of the disappearance of Melaniette. I was young then. I think I was in high school still, or just finishing high school, and that went on for a very long time. And then it just got very, very, very weird. They interrogated me about my last relationship, pretended to be them, which I found out they weren't, and it wasn't them. It's been extremely trying, but that's only the first couple weeks, or not even that this began. And what I found that they did was they kept me constantly engaged, constantly engaged, and sleep deprivation to them was the key, keeping me up as long as they possibly could. And I think there was about a 10 or a 12-day span where I was like literally up the whole time. I would drop my head and get a couple minutes sleep, and I'd be up, and they'd be at it again. And it was excruciating. And now, these audio hallucinations, it's really weird because they'll actually pull, I can, if I am arguing with them, and I gain the upper hand, and there's more than one of them, they'll actually recede. They'll pull back. Their voices become muffled, and they'll argue amongst themselves. They will literally argue amongst themselves while another person is commenting or stating something. And this will go on. They'll argue and argue and argue while somebody else is talking. And then they'll come back with another angle of attack. And this goes on quite frequently. It happens all the time. They always bring new people in to the situation, you know. It's like they introduce someone new every, every 20 minutes, half an hour, somebody new is coming into the scene and observing what's going on their end. And they're letting you know this. So you assume that help is coming, or that maybe somebody's got the right frame of mind, will see that, and will help you, right? So you wait, the next day. You wait, and you wait the next day, and you hope somebody is just going to come. Maybe the right people will come through the door, but nobody comes. So it creates a lot of false hope, a lot of false expectation, and at the same time, what it does is it makes you think that everybody around you, everybody in your community, even people that you might not know, would be aware. It could be anybody around you that is involved in this, and you wouldn't know who it is because they're agreeing to follow these people who are keeping their identities a complete secret. So this could be your friend, it could be your cousin, it could be your brother, it could be anybody, and you don't know for sure. Right? Very confusing. Very, very hard to deal with. Now, I want to talk about the cursing and swearing, because I know that a lot of people who suffer from audio hallucinations, they say that their vulgarity, they will have spouts of vulgarity where they are cursing and swearing, very vulgarly. And I experienced this because what happens is they bombard you so much, that the only thing you swear, fuck you, you son of a bitch, because they're bombarding you. And when you do that, they stop bombarding you, right? So what happens is they'll nag and bug, and you freak out. Fuck you, you son of a bitch. And they stop it. So every time you you swear out. So you go, fuck, cunt, motherfucker, fucking son of a fucking bitch, you son of a... And you go on and on and on, because it's the only freedom you get from their bombardment. And I can understand how somebody would be silent all day listening to this, trying to compute 5-6 voices that are being thrown at them, and then all of a sudden, if they just trip right out. Because you know what? If the way they bombard me, if I had to swear all fucking day long just to have silence from their torture, from the things that they accuse you of, from the things that they say to you when you're around your family, when you're around people like your brother or his children, or when you're around, when you're outside walking on the sidewalk, walking by somebody else, they're very vulgar, they're very rude, they're very, if I had to deal with that bombardment and that kind of vulgarity and rudeness and just sexual innuendo all the time, I would swear my fucking ass off just to stop them. I really would. And the reactions, you see, when I was in the hospital, I kept on seeing people react like, fuck you, fuck you, or they go like this and make a face, stick out their tongue, I found myself doing that. Who wouldn't? Because they harass you all fucking day. Like, you don't know what else to say. And then they'll be behind you and they're making fun of you. And they'll go, they'll say something rude, vulgar. And you literally will turn and go, fuck you. Because it's, what else can you do? What else can you do? Right? Like, their bombardment is fucking crazy. Like, if you could hear their bombardment, which I put a little sample of what that's like, and it's like just like that. It's fucking ridiculous. If you could hear this, if these people were all sitting in one room doing this, you would think they're fucking lunatics. Honest to God, right? Like, who does this? Who does this kind of stuff to people? If you didn't know who your perpetrator was, and you were caught with your head down, and this come at you, there wouldn't be anything left of you. It would force you into a mental health state, right? And that would be it. You would submit, completely submit, and that would be it. You know? And I think once they have you, then they can decide whether or not to leave you alone and let you feel like you're getting better and progressing and moving forward in life, you know? And then they can come back and revisit you. And if they don't like you, if they feel that you're, you know, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they could do it, to be honest with you. I don't know why they would do it. It's fucking